is today. Finally the day we put the front subframe back into the car. We will see. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. I think today is the day that we get to put the front subframe back into the car, which seems wild to me. It's been forever, yes, but this has seemed like such a far off task for so long. We're finally there. So very excited about this though. We were trying to find some clamps here for the boots that go onto the tie rods, and got a hold of Mitsubishi, and we were able to order some OEM clamps and get those popped onto there. I just could not find anything that would work. I didn't want to use a zip tie, nothing like that. So went ahead with the OEM ones, and look, they fit perfectly as they're supposed to. Weird. I also went ahead and picked up a pair of crimp pliers. These are top load and side load, so if we're ever in a tight spot with a car, we can finally just crimp them from the side or the top. With this, we have access to do it right here. So this should be pretty simple. We'll get these clamps clamped down and prepare to put this thing onto the car, I guess. And we just squeeze it right like that. And those things are good to go. Super simple when you have the tools. It's all about the tools. My dad always said that. Jobs can become super difficult if you don't have the right tools. But I'm gonna clamp this one down and we're done here with this thing. This thing is ready to go. I need to go up under the car and double check some things, and yeah, we're golden. All right, we're going under the car here. I wanna make sure there's some wiring and stuff here that I wanted to make sure I have up and bundled up and out of the way before I put this thing up into here, because after we put this thing in here, my access to this is drastically reduced, as you may assume. So just wanting to go through and double check, make sure everything is out of the way as much as possible. Okay, I have gone through, I went under the car, tightened every bolt that I could find, marked it with my little pin. We fixed some wiring. I wanted to reroute some things, put some things in some wire loom, stuff like that to protect it. And I guess we're good to go. So I guess it is time to get out our old friend, Mr. 2-Ton, and we will roll this thing over here, and we'll get my little piece of wood. We'll set our subframe on the jack and roll this thing under the car. We got our little flat piece of wood. I'm gonna set it onto this because this will give me a more like stable platform to set the whole subframe onto. And then we should be able to jack this thing up into place. Cross your fingers. But first, we gotta get this thing off the table and onto what we're doing here. So let me get this thing picked up and turned around. Do I have any power steering fluid going anywhere? No. I don't wanna get it onto the bumper is why I'm talking to myself. To the yak and set her down right where we need her to be, which is right about here. No. There we go, that's more balanced. And actually, it just hit me. I'm gonna have to rotate the jack this way to get it to go under the frame this way to jack it up in there, but that should be fine. I can just spin it around on the wood there and we should be solid. So I'm gonna start rolling this thing over and here we go. Da-da. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to go inside and get all of my brand new OEM subframe hardware. So let me get this thing over here a little bit closer. Now I can take this and rotate it on my yak, just like such. Check that out. Just a quick spin. Now let's rotate her this way. Now see, that will make it much easier to go under. I do want to, actually, before I get this under there, I'm gonna put the rear engine mount on here and lock that down right here, because I feel like this is a very hard spot to get to once it's under the car and in the car. So yeah, let me grab that real fast. I'm gonna snug it down just a bit and then we'll be all right. So my plan is to jack the subframe up into the car. We still have this big hole. Not sure if you can see it down in there or not, but the hole where the steering shaft goes into, once I get it into the car, then we'll slide this boot over it, since we're not trying to like finagle with it, trying to get it into this hole and all that stuff on the way up. I think I can put it on after it's jacked up in there. I won't jack it up all the way, obviously, because the shafts come together, but we'll leave enough space slide this booty over it, and then we should be good. I'm gonna figure that out, I guess, on the fly. I've got everything marked with blue except for our sway bar. That has to be tightened. It has the asterisk, so that has to be tightened after the fact, but all right, let's get that off of there. Huzzah! We got this thing lined up pretty close. Let's get this slid back a little bit. I have that rug down still from the oil, and it's not allowing me to like slide the jack like I want to. I need to pick up the steering shaft and like kind of guide it already. I'm gonna slide this thing back out. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna move this rug so I can actually slide this thing, because that's gonna prove to be rather difficult, I feel. Out of the way, thank you. Now we can slide it however we have to. And up. Watch the shoulders, watch the shoulders. I'm gonna put this up into here already. Doinkus. Let's pick this up. We'll stick it through as well. These fuel lines probably gonna have to go on the other side of this. I'm just over here making sure we get everything, like the fuel lines, brake lines, all that kind of stuff, lined up in a proper way. One more go. Slide her this way. On the frame stud on this side, we're pretty darn close to the frame stud on this side, so I'm just gonna go ahead, jack it up a couple more times. This may take me a couple of attempts, I feel like, but we should be okay. Okay, that's up on there a little bit more. So let me go over here and double check. I'm gonna actually, I think I'll just cut back to you guys whenever I get this thing up into there where it's supposed to be. How's that sound? Front subframe is in the car. Woo! I will say, this would be much easier with two people. You have to watch so many things. The steering shaft, the rear engine mount, the studs, all that kind of stuff. It would be super helpful to have two people doing this, but you can do it by yourself, clearly, but it just takes a while. You gotta keep running back and forth from side to side. The rear engine mount got stuck a couple times, had to like adjust that, move it around a little bit, but we finally got everything lined up. It's all on there. We had to like, I guess the subframe was like this way a little bit. It was kind of like tilted. So I had to like push it around, move it around, but we finally got it on there. All bolts are on, well, except for the ones that go through the control arms, but we're getting ready to go get those. But the 4 main bolts that hold the subframe are on there. Man, what a task. So now we just got to figure out how to run the power steering lines. This line right here needs to rotate and go into right here. So I'm gonna try to twist this thing around. It's not very pliable, but we'll get it. And then this return line down in here, that lines up perfectly. So we'll just plug that up and we should be good to go. Gotta watch out down in there. Let me grab a light, you can't even see that. Gotta watch down in there because the alternator belt, I don't want things to be like rubbing against the power steering line. So right there, this little shiny line right here runs right along where the belt is right there. So I wanna make sure that's out of the way and all that. So I gotta button up this stuff right here. I'm just under here trying to get this big bolt that runs through to bite. And I feel like I got it. I can just wedge my body between the subframe and the floor just enough. And I can like pick up on it and I'm lining it up as I do that. It's like going in line. So I'm gonna try to, yeah, oh, there it is. Thank goodness. I'm glad to see this bolt going in and threading because I was really concerned that somehow the threads got stripped or like whatever the little piece that this thing threads into inside the frame had moved or something because it just was not going anywhere, but now we got it. I was like, you're telling me right here at the end, we got something wrong with like a frame piece internally, whatever. That would have been disastrous. So we have to lower the subframe back down, not all the way, just a little bit. The rear engine mount I was talking about that can get in a bind, mine's in a bind. I didn't realize it till just now. I was trying to put the bolt through and I'll try to show you. Don't know if you can see that in there or not, but it's caught on the edge of the bronze bracket that mounts to the transmission that we had done. It's just barely caught on there and it's like, it's not lined up with the hole. So gotta drop it down just a little bit to get that thing to clear. I do not want to talk about the last hour and a half, but here we go. I had to drop basically the whole subframe again. We dropped it all the way, well, took out every bolt. It was still just hanging there. It was hanging there by that engine mount because it was so wedged in there. I guess all that maneuvering I had to do with my body and all that stuff should have been a sign that's like, hey, you know, check everything out. But I checked that engine mount before I bumped it up into there, and it seemed to be fine. I guess it tilted over whenever I was jacking it or something, and it tilted over just enough to where the edge of the engine mount, there's like a ring on both sides of the mount where the bolt goes through, and I guess that caught on the edge of the transmission mount, and it like wedged it up into there. And I had to jack up the engine, like jack the transmission part, and it finally broke it out and broke it free. And yeah, got it free. Had to put the subframe back up into it, but the subframe is in, everything's bolted down. That took forever. But as I said, whenever you're doing this, if there's ever something that's like not lining up properly, or it seems like it's a struggle, chances are there's something bound up somewhere and it's not how it's supposed to be. I should know that, and I should have been looking, but I checked it, so that's why I wasn't even thinking that. But anyway, we got all that taken care of now, so I guess now we can move on. Man, that took so much time. I gotta learn to just look. Even though I've checked some things, it probably still is in a bind. Anyways, we can move on now. So now I gotta worry about that power steering line. I think I'm gonna have to switch it. I don't think I'm gonna be able to twist that thing how I need to get it to twist to mount it to the power steering pump. So let's get back under the car and we'll see what we gotta do there. So to further explain what I'm talking about, this line here, see how this is pointing up and out this way towards you? I need it to rotate this way, where this is facing down, and mount it to the power steering pump right here. And I just don't think I'm gonna be able to twist this how I need to twist it in order to get that to happen. I'm thinking the ends need to be swapped. It would be super helpful if this company would send a little bit of like direction, a little bit of instruction, but they did not, so we had to figure it out ourselves, which is not a big deal, but still, luckily, I can still get to the power steering line, all that stuff under the car right now, so even with the subframe on, so that is good news. So I'm gonna go into the car here. I'm gonna take off the line from the power steering rack, and then we should be able to switch this thing around. So this second line right here, you can see it right there. That's what I had to take off, and then the line runs down and around and like along the front of the subframe here. So it's too tight in here. I can't show you guys while I'm doing it, but I'm gonna pop this thing off, switch the line around, and hopefully that angle right there will give us what we need at the top at the power steering pump. So let's switch this thing around and see what we got. All right, we got the power steering line popped on up top here at the power steering pump. It runs down and goes under the engine mount, which is different than how it runs OEM. It goes up and over, but goes down and around, clears the belt for the accessory pulleys and all that kind of stuff. And then it goes down and around under through here and connects right back over here how it's supposed to be. I don't even think that I switched ends. I think I just got it off of there and was able to run it a different way. Was able to get the hose how it needed to be. I think how I mounted it before, mounting it off the car was a little bit, not wrong, but it just couldn't twist how it needed to twist. And so taking it off down there, I was able to maneuver it, and there we go. Remember that whole thing about trying to wait to put this boot on until the shaft was through the hole and all that stuff? Having to watch out for the steering column to mount back to it. Didn't work out that way. There was just too much to keep track of, like trying to get everything lined up with the subframe, the engine mount, all that kind of stuff. So we went ahead and just ran it through. And so with that, we'll have to, or I'm gonna just take off the steering column and we'll just hook it together in here. We'll put those two shafts together that way, and then we'll just bolt the steering column back where it's supposed to be and just go from there, because there's just, it was just too much going on. Okay, got the boot on, the little plastic cover that goes behind it, all that's on. Had to remove the gas pedal assembly, but to be honest, those bolts were already pretty loose. And so I can't remember if I had to remove that before or not, but either way, that's on there now. So now we can line up that shaft into the sleeve here on the steering column and get those things interlocked together when we get time. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end it off here. Having to do that subframe twice really took up a lot of time. And so I'm gonna end it off here. Next time, I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. We got some control arms and stuff going on over there. I wanna put on as much of the suspension stuff as I can. Coilovers, all that stuff's gonna go on hopefully. And yeah, we do have to jack up the back of the car as well, either in that video or the video after that. Have to drop the gas tank a little bit, run those rear brake lines, get all that stuff taken care of. We'll put some fluid in there, bleed the brakes, bleed the clutch. And so yeah, we'll get that task done so that task can happen. And then yeah, we're moving right along. So thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you next time. Bye.